Vineet Vohra, and I'm a photographer. I'm a Leica brand ambassador and an author of the book Serendipity. So street photography to me is just a way of life. So what I love about street photography is those little surprises it gives me every day, and the kind of person it makes me what I am. It is a way of life to me, and all these little things also, I don't know if you can see the goats passing by. These little surprises make me love street photography every day more and more. All right, so I've been shooting from past 25 years and shooting street for 23 years literally. And what inspires me is, I would say a lot of painters have inspired me in the kind of work I do. I think why photography came into existence was because painting was taking a lot of time. And it's just that I wanted to freeze a moment. Every time I visit the street, I should come back with a story. So it inspired me every day. And once I got married, I think my wife was pushing me every day out of the house. So that was inspiring me every day to go out and shoot. And to make better stuff, I think I've never consciously made an effort to do better every time. All I wanted was to just create something fresh and something new. And it should be different from something which I've created in my past. So I guess that is what, it's something about street photography that you should be doing something or revisiting the same places again and again, and also creating something new from that place again. And also, whenever you're visiting the same place, it should be like that you're visiting that place like a tourist, and it should be fresh. So there are two locations which I keep visiting again and again. I keep going there again and again. There is one bus terminal which I've been going from past, I would say literally 12 years now. And Old Delhi, there are places which I've been going from past 18 years. The bus terminal I would like to talk about a little bit because there is one particular time that I visit that place. Now, why do I visit that place is firstly, when I started going to that place, I never thought that I'm going to, transfer it into a book or really compile it into a book. But also as a child, there was my one favorite story book which I would always read before putting myself to sleep. And my mother asked me one day that why am I reading the same storybook every day? So I answered something which still resonates with me till today, is that there is always some story which is untold, and I'm trying to discover that untold story in that page every now and then. So I like to visit that place every now and then, and in fact every day, because I feel there's still some story which needs to be told from that place. Well, it's been 23 years that I've been doing street photography. So I think 23 years, a person transforms into various different person he becomes over a period of time. I've become, in these 23, 24 years, I've become a husband, I've become a father, and also I've taken all these things into my stride, and I would say I've been very receptive of how and what I'm becoming, and it has been reflecting in my work. There was a time in my life when I was not really, in a comfortable space. So maybe I was shooting more emotional pictures. But once I got into the happy phase of my marriage and my son, there are more quirky images and more funny images that I'm producing. So for me, when I'm doing street photography, it is just a mere reflection of me. I'm trying to communicate with people of what I am feeling in that moment. There are days when I'm really happy, so maybe invariably I'm looking for happier moments. There are funny moments which I try to capture. But then there are days when I'm not in my best of moods, then I'm looking at something which is very subtle and something which is more emotional, I would say. So my amateur self, I still consider myself as an amateur. I want to be a student of this craft. I don't want to be a master of this craft. There have been, my face has changed in 23 years. So my style has also changed in over these 22 years. or 23 years. What from the amateur side, I think there was a lot of freedom. There was something which was like a jumping kid inside me. I think that jumping kid, at times I'm really trying to find that jumping kid now, trying to get those energy in my legs where I could walk literally 20 kilometers in a day. And also there are times when there is something which I have to feed the clients. So there is a creative gap between my amateur self and that professional self. Sometimes there is a clash, but end of the day, you have to feed your stomach. I would say my amateur self was feeding my soul, and my professional self is feeding my stomach. Well, pandemic has had a effect on not only me but all my fellow street photographers out there. First 3 months were really tough. I could not step out because I'm staying with my elderly parents, and I was really careful that I don't do something silly and put them also in kind of danger. So I never stepped out. But when I finally stepped out to shoot, I was firstly very cautious. It was a different scenario. Everybody was wearing masks. But how it transformed me, I've started started visiting the human condition more. Rather than humans, I'm trying to focus on human condition, where when we look at the textures and tones and I'm mainly focusing on textures now. And textures, to me, they are conveying a lot of different emotions. So I'm concentrating on that. So over these years, I've realized that there are no rights and wrongs in street photography. They're just experiences, and there is a term called wabi-sabi, which is, you find beauty in imperfection. So street photography is typically beauty in imperfection. And if you really ask me how and what my struggles have been, I think the only struggle have been is how I talk to myself while shooting. Otherwise, I feel when you can look inside your heart, and when you're pressing the shutter, that comes out of your mouth, that is the time you make pictures. And that has been a struggle. I've had a creative block, at times. But when you start reading books or follow up, any other passion, what you like to do, you can come out of it much easier, and you can still continue what you've been doing. So the only struggle which I have faced is time. I can't. I have a business background also, so the only struggle have been to have enough of time. If I had the choice, I could have been on the streets the whole day. Well, that's a very tricky question of which photograph has been the perfect photograph. Well, I feel that it's still waiting out there. I don't have any perfect photographs. I always try to find faults and how they could have been better. There is nothing like a perfect photograph to me. I feel with a perfect photograph, which I have in my mind, is when there are dinosaurs flying in the sky. So that is going to be a perfect photograph. I'm still waiting for that perfect photograph. I don't have any. So this is the most interesting question you guys have asked, and I think I have never answered this question to any of my interviews. How and what I think in between street photography life and my life is that I feel street photography is about temporariness, and that's what I've learned in my life, that everything is temporary. To be in that moment is what makes you what you are. So when it comes to street photography, I feel there is a love relationship between the photographer and the moment, and they fall in love. And when the moment becomes pregnant, the photographer delivers. And in life also, I feel you have to wait for your gut feeling that when it is peaking up, and you have to make the most out of it. And for me, I would say in one word which syncs street photography and my life is temporary. And temporary is something which I hold on. For me, I feel there are only two techniques in street photography. One is fishing and one is hunting. So at times when I'm, in a slow pace, then I fish. And when I'm in that ninja kind of a phase, then I hunt. So there is nothing which I swear by that I have to use this technique. I think when you get the best shot or when you get the right moment, nothing else matters. So it is about being in the moment. And more than taking pictures, I feel being in the moment makes you the person you are. So my humble suggestion to all of you who are listening is that learning and being in the moment is more important than taking a picture. Pictures will happen. It is like, some kids, they start writing at the age of 3, some 4, some 5. Every kid writes, but the point is how and what you write. You will know how to hold the pencil. So holding the equipment is not important. It is being in the moment. Please try to talk to yourself often and make pictures which is the reflection of you.